right. Well, good morning. Another episode of Yes Way Jose. And, of course, it is me, Jose. And, we were mentioned it in the last episode, but I'm going to mention it again. We're getting close to 50 episodes, something like that. Yeah, listen, we're going to be big time.
I always laugh because you keep track of what episode we're recording.
I know,
keep
you
track
always
of which
go on
one I'm putting out. Yeah,
I know. Yeah, so we're always doing these. We got a number of episodes. We've got a great guest for you here in a few minutes. But I just want to make sure we always start out with letting people know we love you. We want you to listen. And if for some reason something hits you and you got a great idea, you can email
yeswayjosemail@gmail.com.
Yeah, and listen, I tell you what, professional. You're a professional.
Even
without your sidekick.
I didn't think I was going to be a radio broadcaster whenever I was younger, but here I am.
I'm not sure if it's the face or the voice that you don't have for the podcast.
Right.
Maybe both.
Maybe both.
I don't know. No, I'm just kidding.
It's all technical skills. I've got that.
I've got that. Technical skills. Sometimes you have to be that guy.
Yeah, right.
I thought that was Eli.
Well,
Yeah, because there's definitely not the looks. And he deserves that because he's not here.
I've definitely got the looks on him.
We always like to tease Eli when he's not at our podcast because we like to just kind of brutalize him a little bit verbally and just kick him to the ground.
He would say that we tease him when he's here too.
But not as bad.
Maybe not as bad.
Yeah, because then I have to look at him. He gives me a sad look, and then I got to stop.
It's not sad. He's actually just falling asleep usually.
That's snoring. Is that what that was?
Tired.
That's snoring? One time he's like it.
Sometimes when we're setting up in here, I'll be like, "You gonna wake up for the podcast?"
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe. Well, anyway, good morning to you. We got an email address out there to you. We've got a guest. We've had our superintendent on here for the school system in Bullitt County, and we've got a member here we want to bring out to you today. Just to give him, he's a new guy on the road. Dallas Harshfield is with us today, and he's a new member on the school board. Welcome aboard there, Mr.
Mr.
Dallas.
Mayor. Good morning.
And good morning to you, buddy. Listen, I remember this guy when he had no facial hair, and it definitely wasn't gray.
It was not gray. It was not gray.
And you can't blame that on me. I've been around you, but not that long.
I was just a baby when you and I crossed paths the first time around.
Prairie Village.
You want to tell us? Let me tell us. Can I tell the story?
You can tell the story.
So here I was. I grew up through Prairie Village baseball in the South End, and when I got too old to play the game of baseball, I decided to get involved with the board and the coach, and that was where I was going to school. I was going to college to be a teacher. That was the plan, and so I was a board member up there, and then I did the field crew, and every day I would get up there about 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and start dragging the fields, cutting, emptying garbage cans. And every single day there was this one dad and his kid up there. They would I guess it really depended on what was going wrong with your son at the time, if he was booting the ground balls or if he was not seeing the ball real well. But it never failed. You were up there every day, and you were either hitting them ground balls, letting them pitch to you, or you were throwing bat and practice to them. And your field, the field that you played on, was always the last field I drug and got ready and lined. I just knew. I said, I knew Jose and Braxton would be up there playing the game. And
he's like, they're going to tear up my field. I got to wait for them to get
Oh,
done.
my goodness. It was so awesome seeing that, because you got to see really the dads that were engaged, and you got to take something from it. And I had a lot of, I really admired you being up there with your son. You were up there every day with him.
And he went to Stone Street, so we just walked right outside into the fields. But the thing is, for me about that, it goes a lot to what we're talking about even in our community, right? It's what Prairie Village was a great program. God bless Mike Carden, all the work he did with the program and getting everybody involved. And it says a lot about that direct community there, that part of Louisville, that southwest part, that actually hung out together. And that's kind of what we want here. And all of our sports, all of our activities, all the things we do in our community, we want to be close-knit like that. And I appreciate that compliment, but I tell you what, there's a lot of dads doing that. I see people doing that now in the community here.
Yeah, I will say that I think we took it for granted. I grew up with this league, and they had anywhere from 700 to 1,000 kids playing the game, and then it was on a weekly basis. It was in the South End. The whole community would be up there on a Saturday. You and I would be coaching against each other, yelling at each other. And
I didn't cuss out.
That's back when all the dads were playing softball too.
Yeah.
Everybody was playing softball back in the day.
Yeah, quite a bit. But to be up there, and we would coach our games, and then after the game, we'd sit and have a soda or two.
Yeah.
You know,
That's code for beer. Beer.
Soda.
Hey, everybody's listening to these podcasts know that I do like beer. I don't drink it every day, all day. I
Yeah.
just have certain times I really enjoy cold beer. But we did a lot of good memories. And the thing of it is, it's about kids, right? Everything we do is about kids and our families, and trying to find that. And as mayor, obviously, I've got a great venue and pulpit to do the things that I want to see in every community. But we're the mayor of Shepherd's Hill here. We're going to get things done our way. But I love it to have you on here because I think it's important. Jesse has a good vision for the county. You guys want to get things done, but he's got 5 people he's got to work with that he's got to get build that team. And we talked about it in an episode prior to this one. I brought council members on because I need them to understand it's not just a mayor. Their roles are part-time. Jesse and I are full-time and members of what we do, but we need that relationship. We need to be able to communicate well on what is that we're trying to do. And the school board's mission's a little different than a mayor's, and it's different than a rec program. So all of that goes into play. But I think the thing for us is if we keep focused on the families and our kids, we're going to win, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
You said you hit the nail right on the head. It's all about relationships, right? And going back just to the Prairie Village days, I always stayed out of politics. I just, I was class president in elementary school and high school, and I enjoyed that part of it. But I really, really enjoyed doing things behind the scenes. For example, Prairie
Sounds
Village.
like my wife.
Yeah, well, she makes you look really good.
thank you so much.
She does. I know she's
she's a good
wonderful.
one.
She's a saint. She really is.
Yeah.
But
Everybody knows that.
that's where I got building relationships with Louisville Metro government at the time. That was during the merger back in Jefferson County.
Oh, yeah.
So I really got in with our people that represent us out there, the Metro Council people, and Charlie Miller was a state representative at the time. And I just got to building those relationships, and it was a given. Every year we'd be getting 20, 30. One year we got $100,000, and you saw what we did with the place.
Yeah.
I mean, we really transformed it, but they believed it was a vision, and they believed in it. And when I got involved with the Board of Education, that's the first thing I did. I met with Dr. Bacon, and it took me about 5 minutes to know that that guy's the real deal. He's everything, and he's a wonderful human being, good Christian man.
Good guy.
And
he's a Kentucky fan, but I just let that slide.
Yeah,
Hey, there ain't nothing wrong with that.
I'm starting trouble here on the podcast. Mayor's a big U of L. I'm a Bellarmine grad, but I'm a U of L fan.
I was in his office before the board meeting the other day, and I said, if I brought you this one Louisville item, would you put it in here? And he said, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
He's got a flaw. He's got a flaw.
I will say I'm probably one of the few Louisville fans that he does not give grief to. Okay. But he
doesn't give me grief, so I got to say that he's pretty good about that.
He is very respectable, but I'm sure he won't watch a game with a Cardinal fan. But
now my wife's actually, she's a Kentucky fan.
He might not give you grief, but when he sees you walk in with like a Louisville shirt, I promise you, he thinks a little bit less of you.
that could be true. So my one question is, you mentioned about Metro government and everything. So what made you decide to run for school board?
Yeah, I've always had a passion for the kids in the community. And I saw, you got elected mayor, and I had moved out here 5 years ago. Just real briefly on what brought me out here, it was my wife and I, Kelly, we attended a church in south end of Louisville, southeast, the Southwest campus, and I had an awesome community pastor. His name was Heath Barth.
I know, yeah.
The guy invested in myself. He invested in a relationship. He got the relationship, my faith with the Lord. He got that. He just witnessed to me, and he absolutely was just awesome. I owe him all the credit to anything good that I do.
Good man.
He's a great man, and he knew I had a farm out here on 480, and he said, I got the job for Bullitt County campus, and we're gonna build a worship center out here. He said, I know a guy that owns a farm. I'd love to have him out there and help me. And Kelly and I prayed about it, and that's what brought us out here. We started building a house, and then COVID hit.
Well, yeah.
So it was
challenging.
Some pretty challenging times.
So then
but
your house became twice as expensive.
It got there, right there. Yep. So we worked it, and that's kind of really, I think that's how it goes in life. I think if the devil gets, if he realizes you're really building a relationship with the Lord and walking with him and doing his will, that, some challenging things, but that's where you keep your belief and your faith and you get through the storm. And that's what happened. And we got out here and I realized you got elected. And I was like, well, isn't that a small world? And I don't know if you remember, as soon as we got elected, first thing you wanted to do, you wanted to get the Shepherdsville baseball back in action. And you was like, hey, hang on. Dallas is out here. He kind of knows a thing or two about youth sports. So we kind of tag teamed that, and you led the charge on that. Got those fields back together. And we had a good time. And that's where it started. And I was like, you know what? Daryl Coleman was done a great job. He represented Lebanon Junction really well with the school board, and he was retiring. And that's where I talked to Kelly, and we decided to let's do this. Let's really do it. And the number one thing I go into it every time is it has to be about the kids, right? Every decision that's taken, every decision that's made has to be about the kids. And really what I've learned out here, it's building relationships. And I know you have a huge passion for the youth. You want to...
That's not a secret.
No, you talk about it a lot.
You want to recreate what we had out there in the South End with that community and there's a lot of good foundational pieces out here already, and to have
we've
you
got
here,
some work in front of us, but I do think that the fact that it's almost like tradition, right? In a small town USA, you have baseball, t-ball, and softball. You just have it. You just don't. And for 5 years not to have it out here was sacrilegious to me, right? Because I just believe that having that. We've had a couple of parades. They had the 8-year-olds make it a state. The 10-year-olds next year made it a state. So it's got. But it's a small group of people trying to do it with no real funding. So we're trying to help them now. So we're stepping in a little bit, trying to infuse some funding to upgrade fields and create that enthusiasm. And then there's still a cost. You've got to know your community where, listen, some of this money doesn't seem like a lot of money. Sometimes to our families, it is a lot of money. And so trying to supplement that, trying to make things work. But that experience can't be lost. Whether a kid plays 2 years or 5 years or 10 years, they're not going to forget it. And that's what we want to do. And I think they build friendships that they keep for long after they play baseball or whatever sport they're playing. That's the things we want to do. And I know having you on the school board, that sports kids focus is going to be there. And there's other things. I mean, but that's always nice to know. And you got a lot of energy. I mean, Dallas, you're about the community, and we talk about kids. But let's do this. What are we forecasting that as a school board member, and what you want to see with your other members and Jesse as the superintendent? What are you looking at, like 5 and 10 and 20 years? Because that's how I look at things. What do you think? What do you think? What are you looking for? Some goals.
Well, for me, I believe I bring two strengths into it when I decided to run. One, I love talking to people. I love relationships.
Not as much as me, though. I talk more than he does.
You do talk.
You just love talking, not to the people. You just like talking.
I just like talking to myself.
You just want somebody to listen.
Nobody listens.
I said coming in here, if I could get 3% of the words in, I've been doing
good. I've been pretty good.
Yeah, you really have.
That's not going to happen the whole podcast. I'm just kidding.
The tide's going to turn.
He may turn on you. No,
yeah. So going back to it, it's really all about building relationships. And when I decided to run for the board, first thing I did, I decided to go to everything. I've been in everything.
He went to every council meeting, go to any function.
Best way to
Lebanon Junction, Mayor Dangerfield down there. And, I've got to really meet a lot of cool people and a lot of great counsel, and just to build up relationships. What I think a lot of people I don't know if they fully understand this about Bullitt County Public Schools, but we're doing some very state-of-the-art creative thinking right now as far as what is education to a kid and what are those metrics that we're using, right? It's not... It felt like when I was growing up, it was one size fits all. Right. And I don't necessarily believe that. Just because it was always pushed that college for my age group.
I think it's fair.
Yeah, and
it was for me too.
And I mean, although I did attend college and I got a degree, I'm not saying that that's for everybody. And we have so many bright students out here that love different things. And one thing that we're doing right now in Bullitt County Public Schools is we're introducing those kids at a younger age.
Yeah.
It's going
The middle
younger
school
and
program.
younger. Yeah.
And that's
I mean,
amazing.
you and I talk about it a lot. And
I like that a lot.
and if we can, I just want to do my part as an ambassador for the public school system to get that out there. I mean, we really are introducing these kids to different traits. What do you want to do?
Veterinarian, electrician. What they're trying to do, what I like about it, and I'm just going to add this to it, is that what Lee Barger was the one that introduced me to it. Just a great program. It's in all the middle schools, and what they're doing is they just put in they got these different stations, and you work through that stations, and there's 10 different options, and you go through all 10 options, and then you find maybe top 3 that you like. Well, that kind of goes with you. In your progress report moving into high school, they know kind of what you're looking for. They kind of gear your schedules for that, right? So they kind of figure out if Dallas wants to be a veterinarian, they're going to work on the biology piece, right? And work other things into that. So I love it. I think it's a great first
Makes it a little more customized to the kid, their education. You know what I mean?
And exactly. And to go one step further
Creates an
is
excitement.
there was I got some statistics just the other night at our board meeting that kids in the elementary level, that's where they really grasp on to memory, right? So what we're trying to do is introduce them to things that they could be passionate about later on down the life. Let me give you just a quick example. When I was in school, I was maybe in the 2nd grade, and we worked out a deal with PNC Bank, the school, and Kroger. So PNC Bank came and set up teller machines in a classroom. Every week we get this fake paycheck we'd get a nickel for every day if we made good grades, or if we did homework, or if we had good behavior. And at the end of the day, I think you could max out $1.15. And then you take this little paper check, and there would be a student, a 5th grader at the teller machine. You get it, and they give you a bank receipt, and then they would input it in there. Every Tuesday, we would be able to go to Kroger, which is in a classroom, nothing but dry foods in there. But you could get groceries for your family that day. How cool is that to be a 2nd and 3rd grader? And, you know, now, granted, maybe
Can I buy beer?
Yeah,
They probably didn't have that.
yeah.
They probably didn't have that.
I'm sure the mayor.
I had to throw that out there. People are really going to get some bad vibes about me with this thing with the beer, but I'm having fun.
I'm sure the mayor had a fake ID in the 2nd grade too.
They had it set up like Sundays where they got it pulled down. And
I think that's wonderful. That kind of experience does teach kids responsibility, finances. We need to teach people how to handle a checkbook.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a
What's a
virtual
checkbook?
I mean, meaning a checkbook, virtual checkbook, I should say, because it is really different today. But it has to happen. Kids need to have an understanding of, you want all those things, and for a while, parents are buying it. Well, then there's that water faucet stops.
Yeah.
And then it's now you still having that same liking for it and not having the funds. And if you're teaching some of that responsibility, like you're talking about in these experiences, it's going to help them. I mean, we need every bit of helping them, because we have so much of our country today is upside down.
Yeah.
On their debt ratio.
I was going to say it's actually easier to spend all your money now than it was back whenever you had checkbooks. So it's probably more important to teach them how to work their finances.
Just having some idea of what, and then prioritizing it. You got to have a house, and you got to have a car. You got to have a job. You got to have a house, then a car. Those things have to be the top 3 things, and work from that. Well, if it means new pair of shoes, well, if these things aren't paid for, you don't get the shoes.
Yeah, sure.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's missing a little bit, and we're just a consumption, and it's all marketed that way. And listen, I'm a grandparent. I can tell you, I spoil my kids, so some of that doesn't even help. But just trying to teach some good values. I think what you're mentioning, what happened to you in the 2nd grade, those are things they're not outdated.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Let's bring it back and just get back into the finance piece, a little bit of housekeeping, teaching things like that.
So at Southeast, Kelly and I were pretty involved out there, and we taught Financial Peace University out there with the church.
And
then from there,
I'm a big Dave Ramsey fan.
Yeah.
We're all
Dave
Dave
Ramsey
Ramsey fans here. Yeah.
They asked us after that to be one-on-one financial coaches with folks that were struggling financially to pay the bills, and essentially sometimes I think we try to overcomplicate finances, and I think sometimes people don't know the first thing. They just never were exposed to basic. Let's just go to the basic budgeting, right? You have a list of all your items that you need that you have on a monthly basis, right? And then you have income, right? So we either got to figure out a way to increase income,
right,
or limit the expenses, right? Yeah. And it really is a challenge. And going back to, so we're talking about community relationships. This is where we come into play. Bullitt County Public Schools come into play. Like Shepherdsville, you're going to do so many great things here, and you're going to bring so many great jobs here. Mm-hmm. And that benefits the public school system immediately. Yep. You know, when you bring restaurants and retail into a community, not only are you creating jobs, but you're attracting families that could have great paying jobs outside of the county too. And that's really what it's all about, right?
Yep. Well, I think if you're going to look at everything we're talking about, we want the quality of life to improve. We're bringing things in there, but I think there are going to be job opportunities, like you mentioned, with this, because there is a lot of attention right now. Logistically, we're in a great spot. We've mentioned this in almost every podcast. We're 15 minutes from the airport, and a major artery runs through the city. And sometimes that's a bad thing, and sometimes it's a really good thing. Well, the really good part about it is that businesses are looking for the logistics piece, whether it's manufacturing or whether it's distribution. And we are primed for that because we all have this. We know these are practical things about our business model. But what they like on this side is that the city's investing to build a family community. I mean, build a family quality of life for our families and build a community. So they balance each other. And as we do this the next 5 and 10, 20 years, as I was asking you, the thing for me is it's going to happen because we are more assertive about making those. We got a mission and we're going for it. Whereas a lot of times it's a lot of meetings, a lot of talking, and nothing gets done. Well, I can't work from that. Anybody that knows me as a mayor. I'm not doing this job for like 20 years. I'm doing this job to make an impact, to set a new standard of what we should expect as citizens of Shepherdsville, and really set it for the county. Because if we do these things, you're going to find out our school system is going to be the same thing. It's like the boat just keeps rising all together. Right. And I think the school system, and when you look at it, we want to be preferred place to live, but one of the most important things people move here is the school system. So we have that. We talk about the tax base, and we talk about the crime. Those are the three reasons that somebody will leave a place. Yeah. The school is an integral part of that. And I think some of these
Jefferson
programs,
County.
Yeah, I mean, we can say it. It happens all the time. It really is. And we think a lot of the Southwest Side and Okolona and Outer Loop, there are folks that are going to come. There are our peeps. They're going to move this way because they get better value of their homes. They've got a good school system, and they've got things they can do here. And that's the big. You're going to see that develop. I mean, we're pretty aggressive in what we think is going to happen here the next 10 years, but I think it's a good balance. And I think for us, what we're talking about the school board and talking about what you guys do in your vision, and they do tie into what municipalities do, and that relationship with you guys is important to us. We want to make sure that we're always winning together, right? It shouldn't be that it's so lopsided that one or the other wins or loses. That's not what we're about here. It's about those families again.
So going back to my coaching days, my favorite age group was coaching 7, 8, 9-year-olds. Those guys were awesome. They jump off a brick wall for you. But I always told them, I said, guys, our team is like a bicycle, right? You might be the wheel, you might be the chain, you might be the handlebars, but ultimately, without the bicycle fully put together, right, it's not going to what? It's not going to move, right? Move. Yep. And not only that, which way do you want that bicycle to move? Yeah. You want it to move what? Forward, right?
Right.
So, it's no different in what we're doing here, right? Shepherdsville, Mount Washington,
LJ Hillview,
and Judge Summers, which has been a great guy to me. Yep. He's really taken me under his wing, really invested in me. Very appreciative of him. But for us to be, Bullitt County Public Schools should be driving that, where everybody is united, moving together in the same direction. Yeah, and we talked about student success, and I hear it a lot. Number one thing I hear is reading and math, which is important. But how are we judging? Like, how do we really evaluate what success is? And one of my questions is, what are the students that are no longer in the system? What are they doing today? Do we have? Yeah. Are they doctors in our community? Are they nurses in our community? Are they HVAC? Do they own a business? Isn't that what? Are they in jail? Right? I mean, that's a good gauge on where we're going in the community. And my vision is that we want to give these guys an awesome education, expose them to what their passion is. Do not give up on them. Continue to believe in them, inspire them, and get them back here to do great things.
Well, I think the thing is the mentoring piece. We talk about the coaching piece of it, but the teachers have the same thing. You know, I went to my grandson's ring ceremony, and I can tell you that principal has love for the whole school.
Yeah.
And you see that with both the teachers and the principals and the administration. That's all what these kids want. I mean, it's not, parents are busy. I get it. And I'm not blaming anything on parents. But what I'm saying is there are other factors that come into play. And if you're going to decide a road you're going to go to and what you'd like to do in life, you got to have money. Unless you win the lottery, you're going to have some kind of profession, some kind of job. And I think if we look at the kids that we have in our school system today, it is now kind of the bell curve. It really doesn't need to be about the college piece, but the vocation piece. I mean, let's go back and talk about what welders and plumbers and electricians make.
I was going to say when I was in school, it was all about going to college. But there was kids in there like they might not be the best at math or reading, but like they could take apart an engine and put it back together, but no one was teaching them that. You know what I mean? No one was talking about that.
Yeah, and I'd be remiss if I didn't spend a few minutes and talk about our ATC department. It is state of the art as far as the educators in it. It's a skeleton crew. They don't give you very many teachers and a principal and assistant principal, and we just clearly don't have a room. So we don't have the room for all the students that we should have into that area. That's been on my radar from day one, is really building relationships with our legislative folks here in town and really lobbying. Let's find a place to really build. We should have the best ATC trade center.
What's ATC? Okay,
That's an alternative trade center. And we can build the very best in the state of Kentucky. I have no doubt about it. There is no sense in us having to send kids. We send kids all over town, even in Louisville, downtown Louisville, southwest Louisville. Let's bring them out here. Let's keep them out here. Let's build something beautiful. I'm talking, let's dream big with this. Let's go campus and let's really give them the facilities that they need. They are busting out. And not only the Alternative Trade Center, it also comes under the umbrella of our BAMS program. And that's really where the next doctors and nurses and the next big people out here, that's where they go to school and they get that. They actually get an education in 2 years, and then they're going to college by their junior year. And they're actually going to a campus. They're going to Southwest campus, or they're going away. They actually get an opportunity to go away to school as well. And that's all under the same. It's all under the same building, the same umbrella, the same department. But I think
there's more going to be happening there, and I think it's more of a public-private, because if you start looking at the growth, we still have a growth of the industrial park. There are a lot of people out there that need certain people to work, right? If we go and work with our businesses that are in this community, tell us what you need, and then take that list and go, hey, go talk to these students. Would you be interested in some of that? Because I can tell you, my son-in-law, a lot of his traits, all that school was paid for by the company he works for.
Right.
Is that not awesome?
I mean, and he can do. I mean, he's phenomenal. The kind of work he can do: hazmat work with ammonia, conveyor belts, heating and air. He can do it all.
And so stuff like that comes in handy out there, warehouses and factories and stuff.
So there are people,
engineers.
And he makes. I mean, he's short of 40 years old, and he's making really good money, way above the median average of Bullitt County. So the way you got to look at that is, why don't we take those two pieces? There's a demand for people that need to work. Take that demand, go into the school system, go, hey, how about these professions? And then working together, because they will be incentivized to have that person. I mean, they may make some commitments on how long you have to be employed there, but all of that works for you, right? Because you're going to get it paid for. I mean, if you get a good education, whether it's vocation or a college degree, and it's paid for, who's not going to want to look at it in those kind of interests? So I think that's the biggest piece. And as we continue to grow, you're going to see more of those businesses be here. Well, and they're going to need those people.
And I can tell you, being in and attending everything, we are heading in that direction. I mean, we are trending in that direction, and it's moving in a good spot. And it's just like we got to keep that bicycle together, going in the right direction. You got to. So
I want to be the handlebars.
You want to be the handlebars?
I want to be. I want to be the direction. I mean, I could do the pedaling.
Yeah.
I mean, but as long as I can direct. You know I am. It just fits me. Right?
Yeah, that
The
makes
one
sense.
thing you can't be the pegs. We cannot be toting you. I need you on this bike driving it too.
So,
we got to go.
All right, I'll pedal a little bit too.
We got to be moving it. No, but that's really and that's where I've really enjoyed being. I feel part of my job is to be an ambassador for the school system, and that means various things. Like if something's not working, tell me about it. Like let's address it. No, nothing's perfect. I get that, but that's what and it goes back to our sports days, right? We didn't. If we were hitting the ball great, we were hitting the fastball great. We didn't work on the fastball, right? We worked on the off speed if we were struggling on that. So I'm all about that with the school system too. If there's something we need to focus on, what aren't we doing so well, and we need to work on improving that. But the main thing is for everybody, the parents, the community, the legislators, the politicians, everybody to see the vision, to believe in the vision, to be inspired by the vision, and all of us be on the same page. Ultimately, what do we want? We want our students to be successful.
Right.
And one thing, I can tell you, how many players have you seen that you've coached 20 years ago that love talking to you because you believed in them?
Hey, coach. It's one of the best things.
Yeah, right.
That's one of the greatest things you can hear. Somebody yelling down the aisle, they see you, hey, coach. And it's a big deal. So, Dallas, I got to tell you, it's refreshing. Again, we understand the importance of not only the superintendent, but the school board. And I think it's great to see you come out here. You've got a lot of energy. You got a vision. You got things going on. That's contagious. We always talk about Shepherdsville being contagious.
Yeah,
we want that kind of attitude, and you got some good people on that board. It just continue, keep doing what you're doing. We're all in favor of all of our kids getting new opportunities and a bright future. I'll tell you, I'd like to have you back in about a year, talk about the updates and things you're doing, because we're going to see some progress on both the city side, on the school side, and we want to make sure they're going right down the same road together.
Yeah, man.
Right,
that's a great
glad to
time.
have you on here, man.
It's
glad to have you here.
I tell you what,
you got a bunch of words in, by the way.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say,
guys.
you and I, we could probably talk 8 hours.
And where's a beer?
Yeah.
I'd be good at that. Just give me a big old beer, right? With some limes in it.
Beer two's never hurt, right? It's good times.
Hey, listen, glad to have you on here. And we do have one requirement when you finish the show.
I got a feeling. I watched a few episodes.
He's a fan.
He's a fan. He's been practicing.
Yeah.
Right,
You want me? Let's see.
let's see if he does it right. Oh my God! Don't mess up.
Love, peace, and chicken grease.
All right,
right.
so we're gonna do it.
Okay.
All right, so on 3.
All
1,
right,
2,
yeah.
3.
Love, peace, chicken grease.
Thank you, Dallas.
Thanks,
Glad
Jose.
you guys are listening.
Thanks, Mr.
See you
Mayor.
guys.
See ya.